Hey, everybody, welcome. It is the Games of the Month. I'm Joel, that is Jeremy, and we got ourselves May coming up here, and our winter, spring has gone away, and we've got ourselves some really nice weather for some really nice games here in May, don't we, Jeremy?
Joel, I had an opportunity just a few weeks back to interview some activities directors from area schools, and one of the things that they said their coaching staffs were so excited about, end of March and into the beginning of April, practicing outside. We haven't been able to do that for a few years, and I think that's a lot different. It gives you a little bit different look, but I think it's good for the coaches. I think it's good for the players. It feels like spring, right, before your first game, and yeah, and that's always what we fight, right, Joel? Because we've seen it each of the last two springs. We've seen that season really get shortened, and we know you're always going to have weather events, right? You're going to have some rainouts. You're going to have days where maybe it's a little bit cold, but we both know you can't play when there's snow on the ground. And the last two springs, there's been snow on the ground until mid to end of April. So, one of the things that has been nice is to see our teams get outside, not a lot of games ruined, and not trying to squeeze an entire season and conference games into about 4 or 5 weeks. A lot of teams right now, when you and I are having this chat, they've got 7, 8, 9 games in. That's great. Last year at this time, we were talking about non-conference games are going to kind of get swept under the rug, right? We've got to concentrate on that conference schedule. So it's really, really a fun time of year. It's May, as you know, Joel. I love town teams, so we're starting that. We've got high school playoffs at the end of the month. It really is a good time as we kind of move on into the summer.
Well, let's start off on the high school thing because as you get into May here, you're now down to the final, say 3 weeks of your regular season. So you're into crunch time of the regular season. Games mean something in section seedings and conference championship races and playoffs. I mean, before the end of the month, we're going to have playoffs on all of our stations here.
Yeah, we are. And, when we talk about one of the high school games that we were going to talk about was, GSL taking on Central, two programs that have been pretty successful, recently. Central's looking for their third consecutive conference title in what it feels weird to say it, Joel, but a month from now we'll be able to say the now defunct Minnesota River Conference because that's going away. But taking on GSL, they're going to be conference foes then in that Wright County West. And we know GSL's just a few years removed from a state championship. They've played in state tournaments. So that's always a fun one. That's a rivalry one that we'll have for you that Friday in May. But that goes back to the seeding you were talking about, right? Because that's probably going to decide a lot when coaches get together. Let's say around May 15th to the 20th in that time frame, and we start looking at the seeding process. So this is really, that's what's always interesting in the spring. Now, this year, winter went by fast because of the weather. But, you and I are talking about basketball when we do this in December, and we're still talking about it in March, right? That's a 4-month stretch, and there's a lot that can happen. When we're talking about these high school sports, last month we were previewing. Now we're talking about previewing for playoffs. So just little different seasons, for our baseball, softball, and even our track and field athletes.
Well, then we also, we're on short of time here, so we also should mention May does kick off more baseball. Not only, I'm more of the high school baseball guy. You're more of the town team baseball guy, and we got games KGLB and KDUZ from May all the way up until, well, hopefully the first weekend of September. We should have some ball game, and that starts this month right now.
Yeah, it does. I know for the Crow River Valley League, Sunday, May 5th kicks off their season. I think it's the same for the North Star. Our first broadcast on KGLB will be Sunday, May 12th, featuring Winstead and Cologne. But as you said, I think we've got 15 or 16 regular season games on the schedule. That's May through July. We've got division playoffs the last week of July, and then, of course, the Region 7 tournament the first 2 weekends in August. And this year, the Cologne Hollanders hosting that. I love that because guess what? I live in Cologne, so that's a short little jaunt for me. It's less time on the road. But should be a great summer of baseball. And like you said, the high school season, Joel, is only a precursor of what's to come. And hopefully we're doing those games well into the end of August and that Labor Day weekend for Town Team Baseball.
Those are our games of the month. Check them out each and every month. We'll have this video for you, tell you what games you should be listening to on KDUZ, KARP, and KGLB.